Hey, it's Angelina. So today I'm going to be doing part 5, the final part of my DVD collection. In this part, I'm going to be doing the rest of my DVDs, my Blu-rays, because I don't have that big of a collection, and the couple of VHSs that I have. I refer to this as my nostalgia collection because these are mostly movies I grew up watching as a kid. So a lot of them are from the 90s and 2000s. So, yeah, I'm just going to be showing you them for the most part, maybe saying what's nostalgic about them for me, or a little bit about the movie or whatever, but let's just get into it. So first, we have Superbad. Then we have Talladega Nights. It's not open, but I really liked racing movies. Well, I really like racing movies, so. Next we have That's Supposed to Be Like Hot Hannah Montana. And of course I grew up watching this and stuff, so watching Disney. Next I have Tinker Bell and the Lost Treasure. Next I have To Grandmother's House We Go, Mary-Kate and Ashley. I watched this movie last Christmas or the Christmas before. It's super long and it's kind of weird because I don't think this is a spoiler, but they literally get kidnapped, and it's like, I feel like it's kind of barely seen as a big deal. It's very weird, but most Mary-Kate and Ashley movies I feel like have kind of like a weird, like, why are these two little girls just allowed to just do this undertone. So next is Toy Story 2 pack, so it's the first Toy Story and the second Toy Story. And it just like that. Next I have Unaccompanied Minors, which is a Christmas movie about some kids whose flights home for Christmas gets delayed, so they all have to like stay in the airport for Christmas or whatever, or for however long, and stuff, and the like shenanigans that all the kids get into and stuff. I actually really like this movie. I don't think this movie is really popular at all, but I actually really enjoyed it when I rewatched it a couple years ago. Next I have Unlikely Angel, Dolly Parton. This is kind of a Christmas movie, but like the main theme isn't a Christmas movie. So if you want like a Christmas movie that's not all about just Christmas, I feel like this isn't like the best movie, but it's like a good movie to just put on like in the background, or just when you need some new Christmas movie to watch because you've watched all the rest. And it has Dolly Parton in it. So next is Uptown Girls. This is my favorite movie of all time. I can like I quote this movie all the time. It's one of my favorites. I think it's super underrated. I think the art styling is so beautiful. Like, I feel like every shot could be like made into a painting. Yeah, love this movie. Next I have Valentine's Day. I actually remember seeing this in the theaters when it came out, and I'm sure the only reason that I really went to go see it was because Taylor Swift was in it, and that's the only reason I really own it on DVD, honestly, because Taylor Swift was in it. Next is A Very Playhouse Disney Holiday. So I watched Playhouse Disney as a kid, and obviously it's not Playhouse Disney anymore. So this was at the thrift store, and I was just like, I need to get this because also I don't think you can really find episodes of JoJo's Circus anymore. I've tried, at least, and like a lot of these shows like have the full episodes on like YouTube, and they don't have them for JoJo's Circus. So next I have Viva La Bam, the first season. So I'm not gonna take these out, but, and I have Viva La Bam, the complete second and third season. Next I have Walk the Line, Walking Phoenix, obviously playing Johnny Cash. I don't know why I had to say the actors that it was. I actually didn't really see this until like a couple months ago. But I love country music and Johnny Cash, so when I saw that at thrift store, I was like, gotta get that. Next I have Walking Tall. Literally the only reason I got this is because Johnny Knoxville's in it, and I don't think I've ever actually watched it. I haven't watched it yet. I've literally been meaning to since I got it, but I haven't. I know it's a remake though of a different movie. Next week I have We Sing in the Big Rock Canyon Mountains. This is like one of those, like, obviously it's one of those We Sing things. Me and my sister used to watch this when we were kids, and I feel like this is one of those things that might not be available in physical media one day, so I got it from Amazon because I was like, I need to own this. So yeah, I love it. Honestly, like, not even ironically, like, I love it. It is weird though, but next is Where the Wild Things Are. This is the last movie that I remember, at least, seeing in the dollar theater at my mall. I don't know if you guys remember when dollar theaters were a thing, but this was one of the last, if not the last movie that I saw in the dollar theater. Next is the Winnie the Pooh Seasons of Giving. Just a Winnie the Pooh, like, Christmas thing. Next I have The Wiz. I obviously saw this when I was a little girl, but I also have a vivid memory of us watching this in music class. So, of us watching music class. I don't know if you got that. Next is this, like, old Wizard of Oz. Like, very old silent film era Wizard of Oz. I watched, like, parts of it just to see, but it has very creepy vibes, obviously, because it's a silent film, and it's kind of almost like nothing like the Wizard of Oz we're used to. I'll show you the back. But yeah, it's just something that I guess was a Family Dollar DVD thing, but my mom found it at the thrift store and just got it for me. Next is Which Every Place Wizard School. I obviously loved Wizards of Waverly Place growing up, and I just think it's cool to own all my favorite kid shows. My favorite shows from when I was a kid on DVD. I don't know if they have all the seasons of this show on DVD though. Next is Wizards on Deck with Hannah Montana. It's unopened, but I'm pretty sure I got this for Christmas a couple years ago. Next is The Wolf of Wall Street. Because I, like, watched it, like, bootlegged on my phone. Well, kind of bootlegged on my phone. Actually, I might have rented it on YouTube. I didn't have a, like, good TV at the time, so I just watched it on my little, like, phone and stuff. And then I got this from Kroger's, thinking, like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch it. And I never ended up ever rewatching, but I did really love it the first time I saw it. Next, I have Yogi Bear. I remember seeing this in the theaters for my friend's birthday when we were like 10 or 11. I remember thinking like we're too old to be seeing this in the theaters, but it's what she wanted to see. So next I have Zendaya behind the scenes. I was a really big fan of Zendaya back when she was on Disney, and this was just like a DVD that she put out of like her 16th birthday or something, and her filming like her first music video and like at premieres and stuff. Next I have Busy Town, zooming around Busy Town. This is Busy Town. This is just another thing that I watched when I was a kid. And then lastly, this is actually the most recent thing I have, is the country music film by Ken Burns. And this is just, I'll take one out, like his documentary that he made. I'm actually in the process of watching the episodes now. But yeah, so that was my DVD collection, and now we're going to get into my Blu-rays. First, I have 10 Things I Hate About You. This is one of my favorite movies. Then I have 50 First Dates. I actually heard, I don't know if this is how true this is, I think it's true, that this was one of the first movies that was put on Blu-ray. I think, at least that's what I saw and heard. Next I have Action Point. And it has a DVD and a Blu-ray. This movie did not do good at all, but obviously Johnny Knoxville, so I got it. So next I have Bad Grandpa Point 5 unrated. I obviously have Bad Grandpa, and also I have a DVD version of Bad Grandpa Point 5 in my Jackass collection, which I don't remember which part I showed that. I think it was in my third part. I had to look over my DVD collection. It was in my third part where I show like a majority of my Jackass DVD collection. Next I have the Bezel Whorehouse in Texas. Obviously with Dolly Parton and Burt Reynolds. Next I have Big Business with Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler. And actually, I forgot to say, a lot of my Blu-rays are where my newer movies are, just because now when I get a new movie like that I like that's come out recently, I tend to get it on Blu-ray. So this is where the most of my newer movies come from. So this isn't all nostalgia stuff in my Blu-rays. Anyway, next is The Brothers Grimm. And then that movie I'll probably never watch it again also. Really creeps me out. Next is I opened it without showing it, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and this is like the special edition, and it has like the booklet and all that. Next I have Fun Size. It was just a Nickelodeon like Halloween movie. I saw this in theaters. It wasn't the best experience seeing it, but that had nothing to do with the movie. I actually really liked this movie. It didn't really do that well, and I see it get like shit on a lot, but I actually think it's like fun if you just want like a fun teen Halloween movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously, so I don't think anyone who's watching it needs to really take it that serious. I think it's kind of supposed to be stupid. It was like Nickelodeon's attempt at making like teen content, so like I don't really know what people expected. Next is The Great Gatsby. And then I have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This was just given to me by my brother. That's why this is the only Harry Potter thing that I have on Blu-ray. Because if it was up to me, this is not the one that I would have on Blu-ray. But yeah, and it has like one of those cases. Next I have Home Alone, Lost in New York. I need to get the first Home Alone, whether on DVD or Blu-ray. Next I have Horton Hears a Who. I cannot remember the last time I watched this movie. I don't know where the DVD is, but my brother just gave this to me. I cannot remember the last time. I don't think I've watched it like since it came out. Next is Jackass Forever. This is probably the newest thing, or one of the newest things I have in my collection. Next I have Last Christmas. I watched this for the first time last year, and I loved it. I kind of got it spoiled for me a little bit. Got the like ending spoiled for me, but it didn't necessarily like ruin the movie for me. But I wish I could have gone into it not knowing what the plot twist at the end would be. But this is a really good movie, and if you don't know the plot twist in it, I would like try to avoid it. I mean, it's been long enough, so I feel like you're not just gonna stumble on spoilers unless you go look at the letterbox. But I would recommend like watching this because I do think it's a pretty cute Christmas movie. I think there were some parts that kind of made me cry, but yeah, but it's a Christmas movie, so what did I expect? Next I have Leon the Professional in the, I forgot what kind of case this is. My brother got me this for my birthday, so it's like maybe it's the Criterion, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it just has pictures from it and like information about it. I watched the documentary that they did like 20 years after the movie, I think, and that pretty much has all the information in this book. But they're talking about it, obviously, like Natalie Portman talking about how she got casted and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Next I have Licorice Pizza. I got this for Christmas last year. I'm a really big fan of Hayam, so I think that's why it was gotten for me, because I never said really anything about wanting to see this movie. But yeah, and then it comes with like a poster. So, but I will watch it. I am gonna watch it eventually. So next I have Moonrise Kingdom. Next, this one actually isn't a Blu-ray, but it just have it there because it's the same size, and it's Michael Jackson Visions, and it's just like a collection of his music videos, like a DVD of, it's kind of, this is a book, but it's just a collection of his like music videos. And it has like the book that has, I don't know how to show this stuff, but yeah, it just has a book of like pictures of them and stuff. Yeah. Next I have New Year's Eve. I don't know why I don't give this away, because I'm literally never going to rewatch this movie. My brother gave it to me because he didn't want it, but we saw this in theaters. It's not a good movie, and it drags on, like, it's unnecessarily long. But I have it, so. Next I have One Direction, This Is Us. I saw this multiple times in the theaters as a middle schooler. How do I open this? I don't know where the non-Blu-ray disc is. Maybe I do. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't watched this in a long time, but yeah, I was a big One Direction fan, so obviously. Next I have The Polar Express. I watch this every year on Christmas Eve. I've probably been doing it since I was like 17 years old. Or 16 actually. Maybe since I was 15. I've been watching it every year on Christmas Eve with my brothers, so. Next I have Ponyo. Why did my voice sound like that? Yeah. Yep. And the steel case for it. Is that it? That is not it. I've lost them. Okay. Next is Rocket Man. And hold on. I loved this movie when it came out. Next I have The Short History of the Long Road. This is a movie that Sabrina Carpenter, the singer, I don't know how many people know who she is, but she's like an actress / singer. This is like a movie she did that like went to the film festivals and stuff, and I don't think it ever really, if I'm correct, I don't think it really ever got picked up by a like movie theater or anything. Like no one wanted to put it in theaters, so I think they might have ended up just putting it out, and maybe it was like in select theaters at a time, I don't know. But I actually really liked it. It's a very like kind of calm, it's a very like, obviously you can tell it's pretty low budget. It has like, I forgot his name, but whatever, the guy who plays Uncle Machete in Spy Kids, I completely blanking on his name right now, but he's in it and stuff, and it's just about this girl who's like on the road by herself. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting movie, and I've been wanting to rewatch it for a while. So next I have Shrek the Ultimate Collection. So this has all the movies up to like first Shrek Forever After and the first like Puss in Boots movie that they did, and then it has even like, it has the musical, and it has like all the shorts that they used to do, like the Forever After obviously, but also like the Thriller Nights and the what does that say? Shrek the Hall, so like their Christmas shorts and their Halloween shorts and stuff that they did. So yeah, it's like a really thick. Yep. I keep saying yep. And next I have the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I'm not the biggest fan of SpongeBob SquarePants. Actually, I'm not really a fan at all, but I do love the movie, and I remember watching it as a kid very vividly. I actually think this might have been the first movie that I ever saw in theaters. So, yeah. Next I have Step Up 3. I haven't tried it, but I heard this doesn't work, so I also have it on DVD because I was obsessed with dancing as a kid, so I loved movies about dance. Next I have Sucker Punch. And then I have Taylor Swift Journey to Fearless, which is like her concert movie, plus like kind of like an origin story, but it's mainly the tour movie for her Fearless tour. But it also has like her talking about like the songs and about like how she kind of got to the Fearless era. Like obviously it's called Journey to Fearless, so it's talking about like how she got famous, pretty much. So yeah. Next I have Uptown Girls on Blu-ray. Again, this is literally my favorite movie of all time. So my brother got me the Blu-ray. I watched it because I recently turned 23 and she's 22 in the movie, so I watched it right before I turned 23, my last day of being 22, and I watched the Blu-ray, and to be honest, it's really not that much better than the regular DVD version. They pretty much just sharpened it, if you know what I mean by that. Like, I didn't notice that big a difference. I would be fine with just having the DVD, but I have it on Blu-ray, so, and I like having multiple copies of this movie, so it's fine. And then lastly, I have Wizard of Oz. Me and my brother actually got this so we could watch pretty much which is a commentary channel, who has like a Patreon where they do full like movie commentaries. We actually bought this so we could watch their Wizard of Oz one, and then my brother just let me keep it because he's never gonna like watch it again. So, and obviously I like I wouldn't say I collect them, but I have a good amount of Wizard of Oz movies and stuff. So yeah, I really want Return to Oz. I think that's like the next Wizard of Oz thing I need to get is the Return to Oz movie, because I actually really like that movie, even though it's super creepy and stuff. I really like it. So yep. So, and now lastly, I'm going to show you the couple of VHSs that I have. So first I have Angelina Ballerina Rosemary Princess. I watched Angelina Ballerina growing up because I thought I was named after her. And the VHS is really cool, white and pink. And then I have Scooby-Doo. And then I have Pulp Fiction, and I purely got this just because I'm not even going to try to get it out. I just loved the casing of it. Obviously, this is over her face, which I don't like, but I love the casing of Pulp Fiction VHS. Next, I have Straight Talk, Dolly Parton. I got this for like 2 cents at a yard sale. Same with the Pulp Fiction one and the Scooby-Doo one. Next, I have Toy Story, just the first Toy Story. And then lastly, of course, I have Wizard of Oz. And like, yeah, So maybe I still was like, I don't really collect Wizard of Oz DVDs and stuff, but obviously I do. I even collect the VHSs. So that was it. This was like the longest one of these. Okay, so that was all of my DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHSs. This has been fun. I'm still collecting, so I'm sure I will have eventually an updated DVD collection. So I'll stick around for that. I'm thinking about doing like more, like maybe doing just like separate collections, like my autumn collection, and then giving like recommendations for like autumn movies and Halloween movies to watch during autumn and Halloween, and same with like Christmas. So there will be more like DVD and content if that's what you like, but that's it for now. So I will see you guys later, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little series I did. Bye.